Good afternoon and welcome back to this second session of teleconferencing of PGDHM program. Before the break, Colonel Rao had given you a very comprehensive view of hospital waste management and other important area, that is dietary services. And we are expecting some questions from the students who are sitting here or maybe who are sitting at the various regional centers. Because you know that time and again I have been telling this teleconferencing sessions are not meant for the lecture sessions. These are basically interactive sessions, and there's no point in that experts coming here and giving you a lecture and then you go back noting down certain points, because these all points are given in the books. Basically these questions are the problem solving or your doubt clarification sessions. So I will again request to all the students who are sitting at the various regional centers to throw your questions to us so that we can reply and make it more interactive and more purposeful. And with these words, now we'll move on to another important area, that is linen and laundry services. You see, if you recall that last time we were talking about that hospital-acquired infection and how to curtail the hospital-acquired infection. And in that also a mention was made that one of the ways is to provide the clean and sterile linen and laundry. That is thing. So we'll move on to this area, that how the linen and laundry services in the hospitals are organized, and to discuss about this and tell you about the details about this linen and laundry services in the hospital. We have with us Dr. Pramod Gandhi, who is the program in charge of one of our program study center in Delhi, that is at ESI Hospital, Vasai Darapur. So Dr. Gandhi, please tell us, our learners, that what is the importance of this linen and laundry services department, how they need to be organized, and what are the precautions which need to be taken during planning and organization of this laundry. And
thank you very much, Professor Arora. And Professor Arora already said we have covered two important topics today by Colonel Rao: dietary services and the waste management services. This is the third one in a row covering the very important part of the supportive services, laundry and linen services. Laundry and linen services are the most important supportive services of any hospital. The word laundry, it is derived from the word launderer or laundresses, male or female as the case may be, which literally means washerman or washerwoman. Hospital linen means clothing which are made up of cotton. It may be wool or it may be synthetic fibers. But the study says, and most of the research work says, the cotton are one of the best as compared to the synthetic fibers even. Linen may be comprising of the basic fibers which are spun into yarn and finally woven into the cloth. Before going further to the laundry services, we should know the few definitions of the few elements which are very, very important in terms of antiseptic, disinfectant, sanitization and sterilizations. Antiseptics are nothing but is a substance which destroys or inhibits the growth of microorganisms. They are suitable application only to the living tissues, we call it animate objects. Other term which uses the disinfectant or the germicides, which destroys also the harmful microbes, not usually the spores, with the object of preventing and the transmission of disease. They are suitable for the application to the inanimate objects. But on the other hand, disinfectants in a very low concentration or very low dilution can be used as an antiseptics also. Sanitization is another term which we use, means the bacterial counts we would like to bring to reduce to at a lowest satisfactory level for sterilization purposes. The ultimate aim what you want is the sterilization. Sterilization is nothing but is a process of destroying all the harmful microbes, including the spores also. What should be the characteristic of a hospital linen? The characteristic of hospital linen should be moisture repellency, it should be drying efficiently, surface should be fluff, that is soft and feathery, it should have adequate strength for wear and tear, it should have a static safety, it should not be of a high inflammability, and last but not least, it should not affect the health of the patients, medical and the paramedics who are going to use this laundry and linen services. The objectives behind all these laundry services are: we would like to have a smooth linen service supply with uninterrupted flow. When we say uninterrupted flow, means 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, and 365 days in a year. Adequate supply of proper linen at the right place, at the right time, and to the right persons. and there should be a strict quality control at all the levels, right from the start to the end. And we must ensure the reduction of incidents of basically infection and the pilferages. Professor Arora has already stressed on the hospital-acquired infection. Here we are also ensuring that the reduction of the incidents of hospital-acquired infection and the pilferage and the theft part, which is very common in laundry and linen services. If you see the hospital linen services from the administrative point of view, it may involve frequency of the changing linen, whether you are going to change the linen daily, whether you want to give it an alternate day, twice in a week, depending on the hospital policies you have to define. Linen control in a strict measure is very important. Distribution of the linen procedure, whether you want to go for the centralized or decentralized system, and duration of the time at the laundry. This is very, very important, how much time, the duration of the laundry you would like to keep so that the laundry can further process it. Then the second part is the quality part. When we say quality means sanitization of the linen, the visual appearance, which give a catch to each and every one, and the microbial status, which should be as low as possible, 0% bacterial count. Economy. Consideration the actual cost to the hospital to put the linen service per patient per day. We have to calculate whether providing services from the hospital services or if we can go for outsourcing, which one will be more economical. But on the long run, if you have got a mechanical laundry, it will prove to be more economical to the hospital itself. What are the importance of providing a clean linen? The most important things are controlling the cross-infection, which we would like to avoid, providing the comfort and satisfaction to the patients and those who are coming to attend to the patients. It should have a high aesthetic value, pleasingness to all the patients and those to the visitors also. If we can give this aesthetic value, comfort and satisfaction, it will enhance the human and the public relations. It will increase the confidence of the patients, the public, the visitors and all the relatives who are going to come and visit to the patients. It will enhance the further faith in the medical services. And competency and efficiency of the medical services will automatically enhance if you take care of the above parameters. Whenever you are going to have a new mechanized team laundry, you should always form a core team. We call it a planning committee core team. The persons who should be included in this core team are hospital administrator, nursing administrator. Nursing administrator can play a very important role in this also. We should have a laundry manager, equipment engineer, mechanical engineer, architect. These form a core team of any planning committee for the starting of a new mechanized team laundry. Now the types of laundry services which a hospital can have, there are about 4 types. The first one is hospital having its own laundry, or we call it as the in-plant system. It is justified and applicable in all the large hospitals, teaching hospitals. To start with, it will be very expensive, but in the long run it will become a cost benefit, economical also. In this system, the hospital has got its own linen and laundry and all the activities of linen services. This is the entire role will be played by the mechanized team laundry of the hospital itself. The portions which you are going to take in this are right from the word collection, marking, sorting, washing, drying, ironing, pressing, folding, storing, distribution and finally controlling of the linen materials. These all have to be taken care of by the hospital itself. All are done by the hospital laundry and in the premises. Out of all this, each and every element is very important, but I like to particularly stress on the marking part. Marking to prevent the theft and the pilferage. It should be done at the purchase level, right from the mill stage. If you have missed that, you can done at the store level. If you can miss that, you can done at the laundry level. So this marking part is very, very important. If you can take care of the marking part, maybe you may introduce the color coding concept in this also. You may reduce a lot of the pilferages and the thefts also. Second method is by rental linen supply system. You can hire the laundry services from the outside. Contractor who is responsible for everything, that is laundering of the patient and staff linen as well as the replacement. That means the entire linen supply will be by the contract person. Hospital does not have to spend any inventory on this linen part. This is the second method. Third method is by the contractual system. Hospital may having its own linen, but there will be no means of laundering. That means you are providing the linen part, but for laundering part, you are having the contractor system. That means the washerman or dhobi in contract makes the linen, and then after laundering, he will bring it back. If the hospital is providing platform for washing and for the subsidized contract system can also be introduced once you are providing the platform as well as for the washing materials. And the fourth one is the cooperative system. When a group of small hospitals, they pool together and adopt a single laundry cooperative system. All 50 bedded hospitals in the nearby area, they can pool it and become a small hospital cooperative system where they can take the benefit of the mechanized team laundry system. It can be economical if adapted for small government hospital also, as they share the services of the highly qualified laundry manager backed up by the modern machines and the automation services. So if all the neighborhood hospitals having a 50-bed hospital, they would like to pool it, They can adopt this system, cooperative system. They can have the services of a qualified laundry manager with the backup system of modern machines and the automation. It can evolve the common policies of purchase, supplies, maintenance, and standardization after pooling of resources. Here also, as I have said, the color coding system can be adopted. The policies and the procedures. The manual should be prepared. It should be well developed. Any hospital who is having a own mechanized steam laundry should have its own manual. The following points should be taken care of in this manual: collection and dispatch of linen, including the system, the timings and separation of the soiled and the foul linen. Number 1, equipment policy. BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards, should be taken care into, and AMC, annual maintenance contract, should be applied side by side. Training of the hospital staff here is also very, very important, as we have discussed in the waste management. Optimized use of the detergents. This is what is very, very important. It's no point adding too much of detergents which may rather spoil the clothes. It's the optimal utilization of detergents as per the requirement, as per the norms. Fire safety precautions. Fire safety precautions, it should be present. It should be taken care of. Periodically, it should be checked up. And then somebody should look after, and the people should know how to utilize this also. Otherwise, fire safety precautions will carry no meaning at all. Washing formula should be strictly adhered to as per the norms. We should have adequate buffer stock. Any laundry and linen system, if you don't have buffer stock, you can never work upon it. And last but not least, in this parameter, quality control should be taken care into top priority. Laundry service in the hospital can be simply manual laundry, although we say manual laundry is outdated these days. If you take consider of the manual laundry, you should have to provide the stone platform, you should provide the detergents, provide the adequate soft water. This soft water is very, very important, because if you are not providing the soft water, if the hard water is there, it will spoil your clothes. And provide the dhobi line also side by side. But as I have already said, manual laundry is totally outdated, we should not recommend. And even the small hospitals, it's better to provide a small washing machine than to go for the manual laundry. Ideally now, what we should recommend is the mechanized or the mechanical steam laundry. It's the best method. It's convenient, it is safe, it can be dependable, and in the long run, it will be very cheaper also. Jain Committee in the year 1968, AP Jain Committee, have recommended for the teaching hospitals that should have a mechanized steam laundry. They have also recommended that the small hospitals can be grouped together and adopt the benefits of the mechanized steam laundry. Smaller hospitals then can employ the domestic washing machine. This domestic washing machine will be much, much better than the manual laundry. Rao Committee has further emphasized the need for the mechanized steam laundry. It was recommended by Jain Committee first, and it was further emphasized by the Rao Committee to have a mechanized steam laundry only. Now, once you are going to physically plan it, you should have a proper location, which should be convenient to the user units, so preferably it should always prefer a ground floor. It should be close proximity to the two departments, CSSD, Central Sterilized Supply Department, and the dietary services. Sometimes you have to share the common steam from the boiler point. If you can provide a separate boiler point, nothing like it. But if you have to use the common boiler point, it has to be in close proximity with the CSSD and the dietary department. And the most important part is laundry trolley should reach all the areas hospital within 15 to 20 minutes of the laundry trolley time. The space requirements, whenever you are planning for the space requirements, one thing you should keep in mind, future expansion should always be kept in mind. The standard accommodation, thumb rule is 5,800 square feet accommodate for any teaching hospitals. Otherwise, if you take care of the number of beds, for 200 to 350 beds, you require 3,750 square feet. If you increase by another 150 beds, from 350 to 500 beds, it's 4,000 square feet. If you increase by another 150 beds, 500 to 650 beds, 4,500 square feet. Another 150 beds in more than 650 bedded hospitals, you require more 1,000 square feet. But I have said, emphasize again, for future expansion has to be kept in mind, because you will not get the space later on. The rule of thumb says either 10 square feet per bed or 10 square feet for 2.5 kg of linen per bed. This 2.5 kg of linen per bed is the idea, because we are using 2.5 kg of linen per bed every day. Or if you want to convert it into the pounds, it has become 5 to 7 pounds of linen per bed. This does not take care of the staff linen. If you are going to consider for the staff linen also, you should have to make it 10 pounds per bed. In the layout, availability of the space should be kept in mind. Scientific workflow. There should be only unidirectional workflow. Most of the types which are recommended are either U-type, rectangular type, or it may be any form. But the most important part is there should be unidirectional workflow, and there should not be zigzag. Design of the functional areas, you should consider the reception bay to start with. After the reception bay, there will be a sorting area, then there will be a sluice room, then there will be a main washing area, then the ironing area, clean storage area, and finally the distribution bay. We will discuss it one by one. The ancillary requirements are the laundry manager's office, the storeroom, the tailoring bay, walkers, restroom plus locker facility. This is very, very important. Those who are working in the laundry department, you should provide them a resting place. Actually, you should also provide them with the locker facility also. Not only that, there should be a separate boiler room, toilet facility, marking room, which we already discussed in the beginning. Marking room is very, very important to prevent the pilferage and the thefts. And the parking area for clean and the dirty trolley. This is very, very important. The parking area for the dirty trolley and the clean trolley should be totally separate. Otherwise, hospital-wide infection will set in. For material deco, flooring part, it should be smooth, non-slippery, water impervious, and there should be excellent drainage system. There should be no accumulation of the water. For the walls, there should be a smooth washable surface. It should be free from unnecessary projections, edges, corners for easy washing. If you have a lot of projection edges, there will be a nidus for the infection. And there should be a smooth pastel color painting, which will be very easy for washing the laundry purposes. Then ceiling. It should be a smooth washable surface, high enough to install and repair all the equipments, and free from dust collecting surfaces. No area should be there where there should be a nidus for the collection of the dust. Regarding the doors, we will always have to plan like this. It should be wide enough to admit heavy machinery and trolley, because the machines which are going to install in the laundry department will be of a very heavy machinery and they may require a lot of space. Ventilation part, liberal provision of the exhaust fans for the comfortable environment and to provide efficiency. The more you provide the comfortable environment to the persons who are working in the laundry department, the more efficiency will set in. Lighting part, good adequate lighting to increase the productivity and the quality of the work. Should be free from glare and the shadows. If you are providing a lot of glare, there will be a lot of problems with the persons who are going to work in that environment. Power supply, 440 volts. It should be preferably in 3 phases. Alternate current should be used. There should be a standby generator, which is very, very important. And the most important point is distributional panels near the load center should be away from the escaping steam. If you are not keeping of this precaution, fire may set in. Steam requirement, ideally we say is 170 degrees centigrade, but on the other hand, we always recommend that the specifications which are given by the manufacturer must be strictly adhered to, depending upon the equipment. Steam to be brought from the steam raising plant, either from the common boiler of the hospital, or you can have a separate boiler. Ideally, we should have a separate boiler for the laundry itself. Water, we require adequate water supply round the clock. The rule of thumb says 100 liters of water per bed per day is required. For 1 kg of linen, we require 30 liters of hot water at 70-80 degrees Celsius and 10 liters of cold water required for that for 1 kg linen. If you convert it into 2.5 kg linen, it will come down to 100 liters of water per bed per day. Water softening plant is required if you are having the water which is of a not softening plant. Fire safety measures, we have already discussed. Extinguishers should be there in a working condition. Workers must be properly trained for that. There should be periodical checking of that fire safety measures. And no electrical equipment must be left on after the working hours. Somebody must be deputed before closing down that laundry that they should switch off all the switches. There should be side-by-side availability of the sewing machine as well as the tailoring room. Any mechanized laundry will carry no meaning if you don't provide the sewing machine and if you don't provide the tailor. Sufficient space for mending after the sorting, followed by the storage. This should be located near the clean linen and the pack preparation room. Laundry manager's office. It should be centrally located for the proper supervision. There should be a large vision panel to allow full view of the laundry operation. That means the laundry manager office should be in such a position centrally located that he can have each and every view of the total entire laundry services. There should be facility for toilets, lockers, shower facilities to be made available to each and every worker who are known as the laundry operators. If we talk about the laundry processes, first of all, the first point will be collection of the linen. After collection of the linen, there will be weighing of the dry linen. If infected or foul process, it will go through the sluicing machine. Sluicing we used to do manually, now we recommend it for the mechanical loose sluicing machine. Washing by the mechanical washers combined with the detergents, which should take minimum for the 30 minutes. There are a lot of parameters in this: breaking, surcing, bleaching and rinsing, starching, soaring and bluing. These all parts of the washing machine, which will carry about the 30 minutes. Washing formula. Washing formula will be separate for cotton white, which will be separate for colored machine, and which will be separate for the woolen cloths. Washing soap, which will require 1.5 kg for the cotton, 1 kg for the colored one, and the 1.5 kg for the woolen cloths. Washing soda we recommend only for cotton and the cream. We don't recommend for the woolen. Bleaching powder 0.5 kg for 100 pounds is recommended only for the cotton one. We don't recommend for the colored clothing and for the woolen cloth. Whitener requires 0.05 kg, again only for the cotton clothes. Temperature to be maintained is 140 to 160 degree Fahrenheit for the cotton one, and for the colored one it is 150 degree Fahrenheit, and for the woolen clothes 60 degree Fahrenheit. After the washing, the second part is the hydro-extraction. Hydro-extraction is nothing, it's the process of centrifugation. Hydro-extraction machine expels or it extracts the water. Duration required is 15 to 20 minutes, while the duration of the washing was 30 minutes. After the hydro-extraction, next important part is the drying one. It agitates the hydro-extracted mass of the washing linen. Steam is passed through the clothes at a very high temperature, which results in the process of drying. After the drying part, we call it as a calendering, hot ironing, hand ironing or pressing. 70% of the linen they require the flat ironing, 25% of linen they require the rough dry, and 5% of linen they require just the press walk. It consists of nothing but the concave, convex with tiny holes for the passage of the steam. It creates by mechanized pressure in the steam. It may be single roller, it may be double roller. After this part, mending part. Whatever the clothes which require mending should go to the tailoring machine. Once you send it to the tailoring machine, the very important point is it should be recirculated again. It should not be sent for the final folding and distribution. It should be sent back to the washing again. If you are not taking care of this precaution, hospital-acquired infection will set in. Then function of the laundry, it can be two methods. First method is known as the team method. In the team method, we keep 2 persons for medical, 2 persons for surgical. They go through all the stages. Once we say 2 for medical means right from the collection up to the final distribution, they go through all the stages. And the second method we call is a functional method. In the functional method, we keep 2 people on the washing machine, 2 people on the hydro extractors, 2 people on the drying chamber, so on. But in this functional method, one thing to remember is people should be rotated after 6 months or the 1 year, depending on the hospital policy. Now, very important part is the equipment management in this laundry services also, to be planned based on the single shift or the 8-hour spreading. Whether your laundry services which you are going to provide is for 8-hour shift or it's for the 2 shifts. Double shift can be simply introduced during expansion with the same number of equipments. You don't require the further requirements. Number of requirements required may be estimated considering the following factors. The important factors are how much is the load of linen, number of beds, whether it's a 50-bedded hospital or whether it's a 500-bedded hospital, proportion of the surgical beds and the super specialty. The more the number of surgical beds, the more the number of super specialty, the load of linen will increase. Availability of the space available with you. Number of the laundry shifts, whether you are operating on a single shift or whether you are operating on a double shift. And the capacity of the equipment, whether it's a 50 kg machine, 100 kg or 200 kg machines. And the cost incurred. Linen trolleys available in 50 to 100 kg can be clean as well as dirty. Dry washroom. Sluicing machine is available in 15 kg capacity. Boiler. Washing machine 50 to 100 kg. Hydro extractors 50 kg. Drying tumbler 25 to 50 kg. Calendering machine 80 into 60 inches into 45 inches. As I have already said, it can be a single roller, it can be a double roller also. The types of other equipment which you require are steam bed press, electric iron hand press, sewing machine, ironing table, weighing scales, fire extinguishers, and air compressor for calendering machines. Number of machines and the capacity can be calculated by the simple formula total quantity of linen divided by the number of working hours. Suppose we have got the total quantity of linen, say about 1600 kg, and the number of working hours is 8. It will come down to 200 kg. Now you have to know yourself for 200 kg whether you want the washing machine to be of 100 kg or 200 kg. If it is 200 kg, you can recommend 1. If it is 50 kg, you can recommend 4. Maintenance part is as equally important as the purchasing. Close supervision and installation at the commissioning stage. Well-defined guarantee period and the after-sales services. Initial maintenance and operating costs to be recorded and maintained in a history sheet. You should always ensure while purchasing new equipment availability of these spare parts. That's very, very important. Logbook, history sheet, breakdown and downtime to be maintained all the time. System of regular and timely repair for in-house staff or if you are taking care of the AMC to be adopted. For the staffing, laundry operator can handle 60 kg of linen or 1 or more than 30 beds to be trained by manufacturer or the supplier. I'll skip that part. Organization structure, it should be under control of the Deputy Medical Superintendent. Under Deputy Medical Superintendent, there should be officer in charge laundry. Then it's a laundry manager, laundry supervisor. Under the laundry supervisor, there will be UDCs, LDCs, laundry orderlies, laundry operators, laundry supply karmacharis. These are the organization structure of any laundry department. Categories of linen can be store linen or it can be laundry linen. Types of linen can be soaked linen, infected linen, or contaminated linen. It can be foul linen. We can combine infected plus foul linen, and it can be radioactive linen also. The linen requirements will be separate in OT and laboratories. It will be on actual performance. Otherwise, Indo and the private wards, it will be 2 to 2.5 kg of the dry linen per patient per day. For planning purpose, it is based on the hospital change policy as well. It can be thrice a week, or it can be alternate day, or it can be daily on every discharge. 6 sets of linen per patient should be available, keeping in view 100% bed occupancy. If you are having a hospital which is having all the time 100% bed occupancy, you should always think of the 6 sets of linen.
This is rule of thumb.
This rule of thumb. When we used to study, Professor Arora, it was the 4 sets we say it should be more than sufficient. But now the latest we say is 6 or 8, it's a rule of thumb. If you divide the 6 sets, 1 set in the patient bed, 1 set en route to the laundry, 1 set in the process of laundry, 1 set ready to use immediately, and 2 sets we kept for emergency purpose. This point has to be taken on top priority for any person who is going to manage the laundry services. Lifespan determined by the following factors: overall availability of the sets of linen. The more the number of sets of linen, the more the life will be increased. Types of linen laundry system in the hospital, we should always prefer a mechanized laundry. Quality of detergent used should be excellent. Effectiveness of the linen control committee. Linen distribution system, it can be centralized, it can be decentralized. I'll skip this part. Linen control committee is very, very important, must be constituted to oversee the linen control program, and the members' car, it should be stored, it should be laundry in charge, purchase section, and from the hospital management. The important other elements are adequate quantity and good quality of linen should be purchased right from the ward go. Centralized control linen laundry, proper locking of the stock room, that is very, very important to prevent the pilferage and theft. Proper sealing of containers and the bags of system of receipt. Responsibility lies with the store in charge. Constant and positive supervision of all stages of circulation. There should be periodic and the regular physical verification. Frequent and adequate condemnation. At least roughly, if not at least 3 months, it should be 6 months. After 6 months, there should be 1 condemnation. Proper maintenance of the records and proper security arrangements so that there should be no pilferage and no thefts.
If they remember all these points, I think the whole, any question in the laundry can
be answered. I'll end up this with this one thing before Professor Arora and they may react also. If you want to really learn about the laundry management, those persons, particular male members, they should start washing in the house itself. All the process they will learn by itself. It is the vice versa for the ladies also who are not washing. They can learn the process automatically.
Thank you, Dr. Gandhi, for giving such a illustrative presentation about the laundry services. I think you have mentioned at one point of time that the quality of the laundry services. Colonel Rao or Dr. Gandhi, can you just give us what are the parameters for the, when we say the quality of the laundry services, what are those parameters on which we can say that this is a good quality linen and laundry service?
Yeah. Should I?
Yes,
Colonel. Sure. For the linen and laundry services, the most important aspect from hospital point of view is infection control. What we are looking at basically is infection control, in that though it is not a very critical area, linen laundry, but still the infection control is the most important aspect.
But,
yeah.
This is
so in this nowadays what is happening actually is most of the times laundry services are being outsourced. That's a newer trend, and the people who are workers who are not very much trained in this task of sluicing, keeping it for a particular period of time, that is approximately 30 minutes contact time has to be there, and it has to be washed. Again, there is a problem whether to wash it at the source, the blood soaked objects, or in the laundry. So that area has to be resolved. The linen preferably should be bagged at the site itself, that is at the wards or patient care areas, and then transferred to the laundry, where it will be sluiced, where it will be washed, kept for 30 minutes in contact with the disinfectant. These are some of the quality parameters which we are looking at, and also it is as Professor Arora was saying, that it is a very important area of patient satisfaction also. A clean looking linen itself gives you a psychological feeling that yes, everything is all right in this hospital. The moment you see blood stained objects, blood stains on the linen or some other stains on the linen, that your impression about the hospital also goes down. So these I thought was important areas as far as quality assurance is concerned.
Not only from the patient point of view, from the visitor's point of view also. It gives a good impression for the hospital.
Very right.
Colonel, next one.
Yeah.
Colonel. Next week, primary healthcare.
And anything you want to
ask in between? Primary healthcare.
So, friends, now we are through this course 5. If you see that we have covered almost all the important, I will not say all the areas in the sport and utility services, but when we combine last time's teleconferencing and this time, we have covered most of the important areas in the sport and utility services. And now we'll move on to our course 6, that is health system management. And as you know that health system management course 6 basically is dealing with the health management part. Till now you have been, if you see that your course 1 and 2 are basically talking about the principles of general management. And course 4 and 5, they are basically dealing with the hospital management. But this course 6 is exclusively dealing with the health management part of things. And health management, when we say that health, you know, all of you know that what is the WHO definition of health. That is not merely an absence of disease or infirmity, but it is the state of complete well-being with mental, social, and spiritual well-being. That is the WHO definition has been given. And if you know that if you have just gone through your books, and you must be by this time, you must be knowing what is primary health care. And when we say primary health care, it does not mean that it is a primitive type of time. Normally when we say, we try to equate primary with the primitive type, right? It's not so. Primary health care is basically based on certain scientific principles, and there is a very well worked out detailed organization of the primary healthcare in the country. And I think by this time you must all be aware of that we are having a sub-center. Before sub-center we have got some infrastructure at the village level, that is Anganwadi worker and village health guide and then we have got sub-center, primary health center, community health center, and the district health services and state health services and the national health services. And you have also must have glanced through that various policies which has been come up during this period, that is national health policy and national population policy. I think that national population policy is given in your books, but that the revised national health policy is not given, but that is always available on the net. If you go to the Government of India site, you can see that also. So now in this particular session, that whatever 10-15 minutes are left, I will request Dr. Gandhi to tell you what is this primary health care all about, and what is the organizational structure, and what is the role of hospital. You see, basically when we as a hospital administrator, we are dealing now there has to be interface between the sub-center, community health center, primary health center, and the hospital, tertiary hospital, and the secondary hospitals. So that Dr. Gandhi will be talking about that primary health care and the role of hospitals in the primary health care.
Thank you, Professor Arora. Although time is short, I'll try to cover as much as I can. To start with the primary health care, let me give you the introduction. Our board committee in the year 1946, before the independence even, which is popularly known as the Bible of all the committees, they have recommended the name of the health services to be labeled as the comprehensive health services or the integrated health services. Then WHO intervened in between and changed the services from the comprehensive integrated to the basic health services. And later on, the very famous Elmhirst Declaration in the year 1978, which was jointly done by the UNICEF and WHO, in which 134 countries have participated. India was signatory to attend it. They have recommended for this primary health care. So the background was from the comprehensive, integrated basic health services to the primary health care. Primary health care is nothing, it's a dynamic state of well-being of the individual and society, of physical, mental, spiritual, economic, political, and social well-being in harmony with each other, with natural environment and God. This is one of the definitions given by the health. Now, primary health care, it reflects and evolves from countries, social, economic, political considerations, keeping in view social, biomedical, health services research, and public health services. It addresses mainly health problems in the community, providing PPCR accordingly. PPCR means preventive, promotive, curative and the rehabilitative services. All this has to be taken in totality. Preventive, promotive, curative and the rehabilitative services. Now, in the pursuits of healthcare, the following parameters are very, very important. Ecology. Ecology is nothing but there is a living equilibrium between the living beings, the plants and the environment. Town planning has to be kept in mind. Occupation, industrialization, food, family life, availability of the hospitals, geography and the climate, population which is going to serve, belief and the customs has to be taken care of because there are a lot of myths in the people's minds. Primary health care, if you have to start it, is a health as a fundamental human right. Importance of health and its contribution to the development of the country. There are imbalances which you have to take into care, and Health for All was the 2080, was the one which was given by the Almaty Declaration in the year 1978 in USSR. This is the complete definition of primary health care. The definition is very, very long, but if you understand it one by word, it becomes very simple. Primary health care is nothing but it's essential health care based on practical, scientifically sound and acceptable methods and technology which is made universally accessible to individuals and families in the community through their full participation, and this word is very, very important, and at the cost that the community and country can afford, to maintain at every stage of their development in the spirit of the self-reliance and the self-determination. As I have already said, the definition is very, very long, but if you understand the concept word by word, it becomes very simple. It forms an integral part of country's health system, of which it is a central theme, functions and main focus and overall social and economic development of the community. It is the first level of contact of individual family with the nation health system, bringing health care as close as possible to where people live and work, and constitute the first element of the continuing healthcare process. It reflects and evolves from countries, this I have already taken. It includes also education on prevailing health problems, food supply and the proper nutrition, water supply and sanitation, MCH and family planning, immunization, prevention and control of local endemic diseases. This is nothing but the elements of primary health care. When you talk about the primary health care, two things are very, very important: elements of primary health care and the principles of primary health care. Most of the time what we find in the examination also, Professor Arora will agree with me, if we ask the elements, most of the students they react for the principles, and if you ask the principles, they react to the elements. So you have to be very, very clear.
Otherwise they will write both also.
Both also.
Let the examiner decide.
So you have to be very, very clear. There are 8 elements and there are 5 principles. I'll discuss with the elements first. As I've already said, number 1, education on prevailing health problems. Food supply, number 2, and proper nutrition. Number 3, water supply and sanitation. Number 4, MCH, maternity and child health and family planning. Immunization is very, very important component. Prevention and control of local endemic disease. This is the number 6. 7th is appropriate treatment of the common disease and injuries and provision of the essential drugs. It also takes help from the other sectors also and should be sustained by strong referral system. This is the 8 things, but if you can make it, remember, if you want to remember, you can just make it elements. Sir, elements are 8 only. You can remember by elements only. Aap E se trace kijiye, jo maine bola hai, aise trace kijiye. This is a homework for you. You can trace it yourself. You don't have to mug up even. You can remember automatically all the 8 elements. I have not specifically written over here, so I would like that you should do it yourself. Now these are the 5 basic principles, as I have already said. Equitable distribution, number 1. Community involvement. Focus on prevention. Appropriate technology has to be given, and a multi-sectoral approach. These are the 5 basic principles of a primary health care. Now, role of hospitals and the primary health care. We should know, Professor Arora said, you should first of all know the definition of a hospital. Now, the role of hospitals, when we say now role of hospitals has become without the walls. 20 years back, 30 years back, hospitals are situated within the walls also. Now we have clear-cut says the hospitals are without the walls. That means the services can be provided to the community at the doorstep facility. It provides support and superior primary health care. Enjoy better position in community in a form of regional hospitals, district hospitals and the local hospitals. All types can be involved in the primary health care activities, maybe under the aegis of district hospitals. These all can be done under, because district hospitals is the main thing from where the primary health care can be started. The point to be taken care of, who will be responsible at the district level, what programs should be undertaken, where should these be based, whether these programs are financially, technically, administratively feasible or not, and how are these linked up to each other.
So primary healthcare may vary from district to district.
It may district, depending on the policies of the...
Whenever the district health officer is trying to plan primary healthcare services, he should keep these points in.
Yes.
And accordingly, depending upon the topography, depending on the resources and disease pattern, they can formulate their own.
That is very important. Then it may differ from state to state also. The activities are health programs coordination, education and training, community participation, which is very, very important. Otherwise, the program can never be successful unless until the community participation is there. Intersectoral coordination. We always say, if you have to prepare for the primary health care, it's not only the health department, it's the intersectoral coordination. Development of the effective information system, appropriate management of the logistics, research in the primary healthcare side by side has to be continued, monitoring and the development. The coordination teams, it should include totality of the service. We should give adequate services. It should be receptive to the community and continuity should be maintained and total participation from the community. The agents of the health education can be in the form of the leaflets, pamphlets, flip charts, panel goopy, posters, large banners, exhibitions, slides, tapes, videotapes, public address systems, films on OPV, oral polio vaccine, inpatients, etc. There should be separate health talks in the form of museums, exhibition and public lectures. These are the different type of health education which you can given in different forms. Regarding maternity and child health planning immunization, there should be antenatal clinics, mothercraft, well baby clinics, nutrition and interventions, ORS for the children and vitamin A prophylaxis. There should be separate nutrition clinic, prevention and control of the local endemic diseases, crutches to be provided. This is a common fashion these days, crutches to be provided at any industrial unit, crutches to be provided, can be hospitals also. Keep fit services, you have to reduce your mental stress, you have to control your weight and development of the healthy lifestyle. Side by side you can take care of all these parameters. De-addiction clinics, education on the sex, guidance on marriage, patient continuity of care. In this we can take only referred patients to be examined, emphasis on the ambulatory care, full information on the disease to be given, criteria for admission and discharge, further course of treatment and discharge information. Hospital outreach programs in the form of the health education, distribution of materials, arrange exhibition, films, talks, radio, television, schools, factories and clubs where you can go and deliver the health talks. In the hospital outreach programs, maternity and child health, family planning, immunization in high-risk groups, school health services, nutritional services, prevention and control of local endemic diseases, concept of self-help should be introduced, diabetic education, education on sex, drugs and alcohol abuse, environmental health and programs for the disabled should be taken care of also. Patient treatment and continuity of care in the community, mobile dispensaries which could be staffed by doctors, nurses and other health workers. This is a sort of service where you are giving as a doorstep facility to the community. Extension of special services to the peripheral areas. These mobile dispensaries can be accompanied by special services also. Holding of the regular mobile camps in the community, attachment of the hospital personnel in the community and the home care services should also be provided. Programs which are undertaken by the health agencies with support of the hospitals are daycare centers, provision of beds at the intermediate level, open access to the general practitioners, holiday relief programs and the physiotherapy should also form part and parcel of the component. In education and training, organization of the training infrastructure, conduct different training programs, evaluation and follow-up is as important as the conducting the different training programs. Referral system. Undesirable practices are self-referrals, poorly judged referrals, referred patients do not reach hospital, this part has to be taken care of. Description of the referral slip should be very clear-cut and discharge policy should be kept in mind. Reasons are lack of confidence in the primary healthcare services, self-assessments, easy approachability, lack of information and guidance within the system and offloading and lack of well-defined system. I think we are short of time. Yes, approaches to this solution are workers should have knowledge of primary, secondary and tertiary care, policy on the referrals, insistence on the referral slips with appropriate records, discharge slip and backup referral, license to and fro and incentives should be given. Community participation, as I already said, advantages are it encourages people, discourages dependency, lessens the feeling of powerlessness and encourages people to have stake in the health system. The barriers are professional resistance are there, passive of community, lack of strong political will. This will not work. Lack of management and community skills. This will also further delay the primary health care. Lack of logistic support and coordination, and lack of innovations. These barriers should be taken care of so that primary health care should be given at the best of the people. Contribution of resources can be labor and materials, donations, finance raising programs, and managerial help. Carrying out primary health care activities by community themselves, arranging the reading room, organization, mothers club, mothers of disabled children meetings, youth clubs, lectures, weekends at the service days. Carrying out primary health care activities by community themselves, providing full participation and support to the health programs of the hospital, integration of primary health care activities and community activities like celebration of religious functions, etc., and FSS in the community should be self-care. I think I'll stop over here.
I think Dr. Gandhi has given very brief and very comprehensive view of what is primary health care, and specifically he has focused on what is the role of hospital. And the very important point which he mentioned, that outside the wall, the hospitals have got no walls. I think that is the key word in that when we are talking about the roles of hospital in the primary health care, that I think you should keep that in mind. And if you recall in course 3, it is also given that hospital as a community institution also. So hospital continue to work as a community institution also. So we'll stop here and we'll be back after 15 minutes, and then we'll be talking about the other portions of course 6, and maybe if some of your questions are there, we are still waiting. I think next session in next 45 minutes we should expect at least 30-40 questions from you. Okay, with these words we'll close here and we'll be back after 10 minutes.